Left 4 Dead 2 is an amazing game, and each campaign in the game has its own speedrun. These runs are known as IL speedruns, or individual level speedruns. Each campaign consists of multiple maps, usually somewhere between 2 and 5. Speedrunners take these campaigns on solo, utilizing bots, b-hops, and a little bit of luck to get the best times that they can. The category is called Any Difficulty, because you're allowed to vote to change the difficulty whenever you want. Primarily, this is used to set the game to Expert so you can kill the bots, and be faster. Then, you set it back to Easy to make the map more survivable. Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at The Parish, a 5-map campaign played on patch 2.00.0, or the release patch of the game. This campaign is widely known for being one of the most broken and most punishing in the entire game. As I am showcasing the fastest strategies for this campaign, please note that some of these strategies are IL only, meaning that they are either only possible in an individual level setting or are too risky to do in full game runs. These strategies will be marked with this symbol. At the start of the campaign, Virgil, the talking boat, drops our survivors off the dock with the objective of crossing this bridge to rescue. The first map is the shortest of the lot, a zigzag shape that survivors have to navigate and can be beaten in around 42 seconds. Bots in Left 4 Dead are very slow. In order to progress to the next map, every survivor in the game must be inside the safe room. In order to circumvent this, players kill the bots at the start of the level. The bots must be completely bled out for the next level to start. After the speedrunner solidifies their loneliness forever, they grab the melee weapon that has a 100% chance to spawn and b-hop away. Since common infected spawns are random, there is a chance that they will get in the way and block our path. That's when we give them the blicky. This is when we come to the first skip of the campaign, a common jump. By standing on this pipe, the speedrunner then baits the common infected into climbing up after them. If they jump on a common's head while it is climbing, the climbing speed is added to the jumping speed. Doing this correctly allows for a well-timed jump to send the player skyward and out of bounds. Landing on the roof, they fully circumvent the zigzag nature of the map and head straight to the safe room. Because the map is designed for versus mode, the rooftop and the out of bounds sections are actually fully modeled and have collision. Once loaded into map 2, the bots respawn for another meeting with the GAD. This map is a lot longer and it features a crescendo event. In order to start the event, all of the survivors must be completely dead. The speedrunner then looks for an adrenaline to increase movement speed and a pipe bomb or a boomer bile to be used for a future trick. If there isn't one in the safe room, there is a few spots to check along the way. Additionally, the speedrunner wants to carry an adrenaline into the next map. It is extremely rare that the runner won't find what they need on their way to the end of the level, but it can happen. While special infected spawns are random, they cannot spawn until the internal timer of 35 seconds from map load ends. On average, with good movement, this means specials will start to spawn right before the speedrunner enters the crescendo event. This adds extra pressure onto one of the hardest skips in the game. This maze of a panic event can be completely skipped with 2 distinct tricks. Once down the first corridor, there's a little Sita offshoot that can have a random weapon upgrade and some adrenaline spawns. For this trick, the speedrunner must perform a single crouch hop. This is a simple bunny hop, but while crouching. The extra height given from a crouch hop combined with landing on these little supports on the fence give the player just enough height to make it on top of these file cabinets. Once on top, they do a common jump to make it over the fence, skipping right to the end of the crescendo. This is when the speedrunner needs to lay down some pipe and ride these commons to victory. Common infected can be ran on top of for a brief time before they die. If a pipe bomb or a boomer bile is used to make a large group of them stand on this spot, the speedrunner can then use them as a stepping stool to get on top of these porta potties and subsequently over the fence, skipping, turning off the panic event. This can still be done without a throwable, but the setup is super scuffed and this is only used in case of emergencies. All in all, map 2 can be completed in around 1 minute and 47 seconds. Map 3 is a long one, and it's one of the few examples of pathway RNG. but we won't see that till a little bit later. After the bots are dealt with, if the speedrunner managed to save a boomerbile, they will throw it over this fence here. This is so that the common infected will be distracted by it. However, because they threw it out of bounds, their AI doesn't actually know how to path to it, so they just end up standing still. This is useful as we may actually want common infected for this upcoming trick. Normally, this bus blocks the path, and you have to go around, but with a nicely timed crouch hop on the bumper, this can be avoided. If the crouch hop has failed, a common boost here is a nice backup. Zooming through the streets, we arrive at another shortcut. Instead of going around and through this house, we just common jump over this fence and skip right into the sewer. This is what we needed that adrenaline for. Water slows down the player's movement speed to a crawl, and getting hit only stacks that slowdown. This can be mostly avoided if you hit perfect bunny hops, however. But since the ceiling is too low in this section, it is no longer an option. Adrenaline counteracts this and makes it a cakewalk. Climbing out of the ladder, we come up into one of the scarier parts of the run. This car park is full of eager cars primed and ready to ruin the speedrun. Bumping or shooting a flashing car will summon a horde of infected. This is especially bad if they spawn in front of the player and above the ladder, since the only way to get up would be to kill every single common. Tanks also can spawn here, and if a tank hits a car into you, it is an instant kill. Which cars have alarms are random, but this one never will have one, so it's safe to go right through the middle. Finally, at the top of the ladder, we arrive at the bridge. Oh, never mind. It's gonna be a bit before we get there. The graveyard is one of the few sections in the game with pathway RNG. There are 4 different paths that can be open, the closest being the worst, the next being slightly better, and the third being the best, and the furthest being the second best. The time difference between the best and worst is around 20 seconds. Some of this time loss can be negated though with really good bunny hops. After the grave RNG is escaped, the speedrunner hops along into the safe room and gets ready for quarter, the worst map in the game. The next map can also benefit greatly from having a pipe bomb, as a backup for a trick. Map 3 is completed in about 2 minutes. This is quarter, and if you ever decide to speedrun this game, it will be your worst enemy. Right out the gate, commons everywhere. Left, right, up, down, like a clown, in your face, no time to waste. Thankfully, this can be used to the speedrunner's advantage, common jumping over this fence. Skipping having to go inside and upstairs. This leads into a long straightaway that has a double common jump in it. Normally, the runner would go inside, check out the bar, play some pool, go upstairs, and get their face humped by a jockey, go home and cry. Instead, we will cry because this skip is finicky as hell. Jumping from this car, you can land on the base of the tree. From there, you common jump up to get inside the tree, and then do another common jump to go over this invisible wall, skipping straight to the end of the bar. This invisible wall is a lot taller than you may think, and jumping off the commons mid-climb doesn't always give the best boost. This is definitely the most finicky trick in the whole campaign, and it is strictly only done in individual level runs. Climbing up the stairs, we head into the next big trick. There is this panic event here that requires the player to wait out a Mardi Gras float so they can walk across. Rochelle ain't showing her tits for no one, so we're gonna skip it. There are 4 main ways of skipping this section. Firstly, we do a trick called Infinite Stumble. This trick only works on the release patch of the game, 2.00.0. Basically, how it works is, once you start stumbling, switching between the primary and secondary weapon will loop the stumbling animation. After looping a few times, the player loses the ability to lose or gain height. Once this occurs, the speedrunner can stumble through the air and across the gap. This can be initiated by a few things. The easiest is with a propane tank that spawns right where you need it, but this is not always there, hence the pipe bomb backup. Pipes can be used, but if a common gets between you and the explosion, it might not stumble you. The next method is the hardest one, and that is hitting 2 crouch hops and just yeeting yourself across the gap. This jump is really far, so the speedrunner must use the added velocity from jumping on the slope of the roof, and the added height from the crouch hops. For the uninitiated, bunny hops in Left 4 Dead are all tick perfect, or frame perfect at 30 FPS. So this makes the jump double tick perfect, as both the jumps need to be perfect, not only in the timing, but also in the strafing. It has to be on point so that the runner gets barely enough speed to make this jump. When this strat inevitably misses, which it will a lot, there is another backup that can be used. Standing on these cinder blocks, common infected can climb up. Jumping off their heads can launch the runner onto the platform, skipping having to activate the event. The downside is this is slower, and also super finicky compared to the other strategies. The last method is super situational, but it does happen. Tank spawns are super common on quarter, and a well-placed jump before getting hit can send you flying right across the other side of the gap. After this, the runner heads downstairs and does one last common jump to skip over this fence and around another building. Then it's just a straight shot to the safe room and into the finale, completing quarter in about 1 minute and 50 seconds. The Parish has an infamously hard finale, forced to run directly against hordes of zombies in a required tank fight near the end. However, this long bridge is actually one of the easier finales in the context of a speedrun. The whole thing is almost entirely scripted. Commons spawn in almost the same spots every time, and tank spawns in the same area every single run. After finishing off the bots for the last time, the speedrunner collects some adrenaline and hopefully a pipe bomb and heads out. As the bridge drops, they set up to do some sick bunny hops down this narrow corridor. Sticking to the left, the runner mows down any commons in their way. Specials almost always end up spawning behind the player here, so the only real worry is getting charged in a narrow corridor. Once at the top of the bridge, there is another adrenaline spawn here and one more setup for some sick bunny hops. Around this section, there is almost no common spawns, as the tank takes full attention. The tank can spawn almost anywhere, on the roof, behind the semi-truck, or even on top of the bus. But he will always spawn in this general vicinity. Normally, when a tank hits a car into Survivor, it is an instant kill. However, there is an exception made on this map specifically. Getting hit by a car only deals 50 damage, making it possible to take a whole car to the dome and just keep on running. This is nice, because otherwise lots and lots of runs would just flat out be killed here due to bad tank spawns. Once past the tank, there are two routes to go here. Normally, most runners would go straight ahead and just head to the plane, jumping off this fence to skip going around. But if you want to play it super safe, you can also climb up on top of this fence and jump on top of the bridge where the commons cannot get you. It gives a nice view of the helicopter at least. Once off the bridge, all that is left is to claim victory, finishing the Parish finale in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Currently, the world record for the Parish individual campaign speedrun any difficulty is 8 minutes and 55 seconds by Charlastic, and Expert Realism by 9 minutes and 46 seconds by yours truly. The Parish is one of the more broken and punishing campaigns in Left 4 Dead 2. Whether it's solo or co-op, Expert Realism or any difficulty, there is a ton of cool shit going on in this game, and I can't wait to show you more of what it has to offer. Until next time, stay lucky. Big shout out to Charlastic for helping me record all of these cool angles and talking with me about the strats, as well as to the larger Left 4 Dead 2 speedrunning community for being so awesome. If you want to hang out and watch some more Left 4 Dead 2 speedruns, we both stream on Twitch, links in the descriptions below. Also, big thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon as well as other places on the internet, and much love, y'all. I appreciate it.
It sound right, boy.